Hey there, I'm Cynthia Top and live stream for you here on vision boards that actually work, part 4. So today we're going to talk about what to do with your vision board after you make it. So what I'm doing right now is trying to get this also sharing in my group. So let's get that going and then we'll get started. And if you've made a vision board, while I am getting this organized to share simultaneously in my group, How to Create a Magical Life, which you are welcome to join. If you made a vision board, grab it and bring it here with you now. Okay, perfect. That should be sharing there. And then the other thing I want to do is, yes. Okay, here we go. So I am Cynthia Top. I am a certified life coach, and I teach people how to create their magical lives. I also am the host of a free Facebook group called How to Create Your Magical Life that helps people like you, empowers you, encourages you to create the life that you desire. So that's who I am. So, okay. So today I want to talk about what do we do with our vision board or the list of things that we journaled about what we desire for this year. What do we do with that after we created it? So this video right now is vision boards that actually work, part 4. So there are 3 others in this little mini series, and I'll actually make sure that I get the link to, I'm putting them on my YouTube channel so you can go and watch them in order rather, but they're all here on this Facebook page and also in my free group, howtocreateamagicallife.com. So what do we do with our vision boards after we create them? So how many of you have ever either created a vision board or you've done something that basically serves the same purpose? For example, you have in your journal written a list of the things that you long for or desire to bring into being or to attract or receive or manifest, create in a given year or in some period of time or in relation to some topic. Or maybe you've done something like, I've done this a couple different times where I've written a letter to myself at the beginning of the year and then kept it in an envelope and not opened it until the end of the year. And you know, there's numerous ways for us to sort of plan what it is that we want to create or manifest. But what happens, honestly? I'll tell you what happens for me. If I write it in my journal, it disappears, and I don't tend to go back and look in my journals. If I write it on a piece of paper, then I tend to put it somewhere in a pile of papers, and it disappears. And even when I've done really great vision boards, I've sometimes put them up on my bulletin board above my desk, and they become invisible. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's, you know, right there in your face every day, but you stop seeing it. It just becomes completely invisible. And that was actually what prompted me a few years back to start making my vision boards, as I have showed you in this, as these little tiny things, because then at least I thought, oh, well, then I can take it with me. Like if I'm sitting in bed at night working, you know, writing in my journal or whatever, I can have it with me. But even so, it's really easy for these things that we want, for us to create these things that represent what we want to bring into being and then never interact with them. Never actually put our energy into that for the rest of the year. And then you know what happens? The things that we were so excited to bring into being, well, end up going on our vision board the next year because they didn't happen that year. which is really kind of a bummer. So, what do we do about this? Well, I want to actually, well, a couple things here. Part of the problem is, dang it, sorry. Part of the problem is that we don't actually manifest from our minds, as I'm saying all the time. We don't manifest out of our thoughts. We manifest from a much deeper place, out of our souls. So the one thing that gets taught over and over about how to use a vision board or a list of things you want to manifest is to think about them a lot. Now, I actually think that works in a certain way sometimes. I'm not going to go into that now, but there are much better ways to work with the things that we want to manifest. I'm going to teach you a whole bunch more of these in this webinar of mine that's coming up. I'm going to do a webinar on January 30th called Magical Money in 2018, and I'm going to teach you some more tips and tricks and techniques for how to actually do this thing of bringing into being what you long for. And even if you feel great about your financial situation, join me on this webinar, because the things I'm going to be teaching apply to finding your soulmate, or losing weight, getting healthy, getting through serious illness, all the things that we want, finding that great job, or finding your purpose in life. So even though I'm calling it Magical Money in 2018, I could just as well have called it Magical Everything in 2018. So I am going to be teaching you a bunch more of these tips and tricks and techniques in that webinar, and I put the link to it in the comments already. So hop on that comment. There's a link there so you can register, and I'll be recording the webinar so you can watch it. If you can't watch it live, you can watch it afterwards, but you do have to register to get access to it, either live or afterwards. So for today, I want to take you through a short guided meditation that will help get the energy of actually working with the things on your vision board flowing. So if you have a vision board, or if you made a list, or if you wrote yourself a letter about what you want to create and receive in 2018, I hope you brought that with you. Grab it or pull it down from your bulletin board or wherever it is. And what I want you to do first, if you didn't, actually I'll say this, if you haven't made a vision board yet, that's just fine. There's three earlier videos in this little series, so you can watch and learn some things about how to create a vision board. If you haven't created one yet, but you want to go through this meditation with me, just take a moment right now and pick out a thing or two that you want for 2018. Just whatever comes to your mind. And actually grab a pen and paper and write that down. If you did create some sort of vision board, I want you to take a minute right now and just kind of glance at it. Just sort of look across at all the different things that you put on it, or if you made a list, just kind of skim through it. And for this exercise, just look and see, does something kind of jump out at you? Does something, one of the pictures that you put on there, feel really juicy right now, really delicious? Does something just feel like, oh yeah, I want to work with that thing in this little exercise with Cynthia right now? So just take a minute. Look at your different things. Also just kind of take in the feel of the whole vision board or your list. Something that's jumping out for me right now is I put a little thing on mine that says this or something better. That's just kind of jumped out at me right now, along with a couple of my pictures. So as we do this meditation, I just want to say a couple things first. First of all, we often hear about how our root chakra, our first chakra, which is at the base of our spine, is where abundance and prosperity and financial security, where those things are housed, where they live within us. And that's true. But there's another thing that goes on that can sometimes, if we're blocked in that root chakra, that can stop us from receiving those things if we don't feel like we're secure in life and loved and lovable and accepted and all of that. But there's also another part of us, another part of our system energetically where we can get blocked from receiving, and that's our crown chakra on the top of our head. So as I do this meditation, we're actually going to connect to Source, and this can be however you want to think of it. God, the divine, the universe, consciousness, whatever it is for you that's bigger than your body, than your individual life. What is it that's the wholeness, the oneness? And as we do this, the visualization is going to involve connecting to Source above us. And that's not because that's the only place where source energy comes from or the only place where God lives. It's because as human beings, we do better when we have something to picture as we're meditating or as we're trying to connect with consciousness or the divine. So it's helpful. Source being above us is a metaphor. It's a picture, but it's a helpful one. As we're doing this meditation, one of the other things that I want to mention that I'll be saying in the meditation is that very often our energy is very focused to the front of us. Think of how when you're concentrating, for example, you're working on your computer and you're hunched forward and there's like your thoughts are all coming in this forward direction and your energy is directed forward. Or if you are longing for something that involves another person. For example, you're either longing for that person to become the love of your life, or you have a person that you love dearly that's hurting. Our energy, a good energy, and the energy of our heart and all of our thoughts, it's all focused very forward. In this meditation, I want us to balance that out with leaning back into the back energy of divine, of being held and supported. And even if it helps you to imagine you're loved with this huge bear hug wrapped around you from behind, or something like that, something that you can lean into. So I just wanted to explain that first before we start. Okay, so anything else? All right, so glance again at your vision board or at your list of things that you would love to bring into being, or that little thing you jotted down that is coming to mind right now. And then close your eyes and let's take a deep breath or two to get settled here. And now, I'm just waiting a minute. I have two different ideas in mind of how to bring us into this space. And I'm lifting up my hands here and allowing energy to flow through them. And I am holding them right now over your crown chakra, over your head. And I am sensing So much energy flowing over the crown of your head and opening that space energetically in the top of your head. And right now I invite all of your guides, your connection to the divine, to come and bring that energy to your crown chakra. As I do this, I'm also sensing the presence of my guides, of Jesus, the ultimate Reiki healer. Just allow that energy to begin moving, to release and dissolve any caps, any ways that you have blocked your connection to Source. Now, from the center of your being, either your heart, your solar plexus, or deep in your belly, whatever feels like the center of you, take your energy and reach up, 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 up to Source. Keep reaching up into the sky, up into the heavens, until you have the sense, the feeling, you see, you imagine connecting to Source energy, to the divine. And take your energy even higher, 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 till you sense that place high above you that you connect to Source energy. And then draw that beautiful gold or silver or white lavender light back down to your crown. And just imagine this funnel that goes into the top of your head. It might be lavender, it might be silver, gold, shining white light. Just imagine this funnel that's funneling all this Source energy back down into the top of your head. And now sit with that a minute and just look at that column of Source energy coming down to the top of your head. And look and see if you can see in that Source energy, it's so abundant. Look and see if you can see any of the things from your vision board. When I was doing this for myself earlier this morning, I was seeing $1,000 bills coming in through that column of Source energy. And I was seeing the word joy. And I was seeing some of the specifics that I've been asking for about my coaching business for this year. See what it is that lights up for you right now in that source energy. And I actually sort of see it as all these little pictures coming down. And then we're going to begin to draw this into our bodies. And we're going to do it with our breath. So as we breathe in, breathe that source energy with all that abundance and those things you're longing for. Breathe that into the top part of your head. Now take another breath and breathe it into the lower part of your head, your jaw, your ears. And now let's breathe that down into our necks. And into our shoulders. And the upper part of our chest. And as we're doing it, remember as well to breathe this beautiful source energy that's abundantly full of all that we long for. Breathe it as well down into our back, the backs of our heads, the back of our neck, that space between our shoulder blades. And allow it to fill the space behind your head and neck and shoulders. And now let's breathe it down into our arms and our hands, our fingers. Beautiful light, beautiful flowing energy coming down into our hands and fingers. And now let's breathe into our torsos. And as we breathe that in, we're breathing all this golden, silver, purpley, lavender, white light. And we're breathing it down this funnel, right down to our torsos. And remember to breathe it down the back, down your spine, all of that abundance, and all of those little glimmerings of the things that you're longing for, those little pictures, those little snapshots. And then take a few more deep breaths and breathe it down into your pelvis. And again, remember to continue pulling this source energy, this God energy, this creative flow of energy. Remember to pull it down your back. And as we come down to the pelvis, remember to pull it down around your rear end. All those things are sparkling in there. Maybe they're coming down as words of what wants to happen this year in your life. Maybe as little pictures. For me, it's almost the little images off of my vision board. Just allow them to come down and settle in your pelvis. And now a couple more deep breaths, and we're going to allow that energy, that source energy we're bringing down, to connect all the way down and fill our legs and down to our feet, all the way down to our toes and our toenails. this divine energy, this source energy, Holy Spirit, consciousness itself. Bring it right down through your legs and your feet, the bottoms of your feet, your toes. And now take a few more breaths and allow this energy, this God, Holy Spirit, consciousness, source energy, universal energy, you, oneness, whatever, however it is for you, allow that to begin each time you breathe to fill the space even around your body, your aura, space that's surrounding you. It's a few inches or a foot or so beyond your body. And don't forget about breathing it into your back as well, in the space behind you. And just notice as you're doing this flow of energy is filled with all these things from your vision board, from your list of what you want to bring into reality this year. And now, because energy wants to flow and wants somewhere to go, pick one of those things or a couple of them that you've been seeing in your energy as you're doing this, in that source energy. Maybe one thing you're really longing for this year. And just hold that in your hands right now. It might be losing weight. It might be a wonderful, purposeful, meaningful job. It might be creating a circle of friends. Whatever that is, hold that in your hands right now. And still connected to Source, just let this energy flow from Source into your crown, through your body, out through your hands, to whatever this thing is that you're longing for. Just hold that thing right in front of you. In my Christian years, we call this laying on of hands, often for healing. And when I was praying during those years and I wasn't physically in somebody's presence, I would just hold them in this space in front of me. And I would lay on my hands and see the energy flow through from the divine through me and out my hands. And if this is something you're doing for yourself, for healing, for a better mental state, then imagine yourself in front of you. And allow that energy to flow through into this thing you long for. And there's a part too that's about asking. So make this a prayer to God, to your guides, to whatever feels comfortable, your higher self, whatever you know does these things that come out as magic. And just say, God, bless this thing I want to create. Please allow this to come into being. Allow the space for it to happen. Will you do the part that my individual human self can't do? And then take another deep breath or two and just lower your hands. Come back to your body. I'm feeling where my feet are starting to go to sleep. Notice your body. Wiggle your toes a little bit. Move your shoulders. And then just open your eyes. Come back to me. Here I am. Look around the room. Look out the window. Just ground yourself again. We've gone really deep with that. And if you're not used to experiencing the divine source energy flowing through you, that might have been a little intense, and that's okay. So I want to just finish with, from your heart, just offer gratitude for source energy and for what is that you're creating. Just say thank you. Thank you for these things that are here on my vision board, that are coming into being, that I'm holding in my hands already. And thank you that I am one with consciousness, with source energy, with all that is. All right, my dear ones, that's all for right now. If you want more like this, I hope you'll join me for this webinar I was talking about at the beginning. It's called Magical Money in 2018. The link to register is already there in the comments for you, and there will be replays if you can't join me live, but you have to register to get access to those. This is the year, my friends. This is the breakthrough year for our magical lives. I am honored to be part of this tribe. Love to all of you. Ciao for now. Mwah. All right.